The Exorian ambassador shifted uncomfortably in his environment suit as he faced the United Earth Council. His translucent blue skin rippled with anxiety beneath the protective membrane, all four of his arms twitching in subtle gestures of dominance that his species had evolved over millennia of diplomatic conquest. "The terms are quite reasonable," Ambassador Drexel purred through his translator. "The Exorian Collective requires merely 70% of your planet's water resources and exclusive mining rights to your asteroid belt. In exchange, we offer protection from the more aggressive species in this sector." General Eleanor Way, seated at the center of the council table, maintained a neutral expression. Behind her impassive face, however, her mind calculated probabilities and outcomes with military precision. The other 11 council members glanced at her, waiting. As head of Earth's defense force, protocol dictated she speak first when dealing with potential threats. "And if we refuse?" she asked simply. The ambassador's skin flashed a pattern of colors that the translation software interpreted as amusement. "Then regrettably, we would be forced to take what we need," he replied, his tone suggesting this was merely a formality. "Your species has only achieved interplanetary travel within your own system. The collective has conquered 16 star systems. Our fleet currently in orbit around your moon outnumbers your defense forces 10 to 1. Wei nodded thoughtfully. "I see. And you believe this imbalance of forces means we will simply capitulate to your demands?" "History suggests a 94.3% probability," the ambassador said confidently. "Rational species recognize unfavorable odds and negotiate accordingly." Wei allowed herself a small smile. "That's where you've made your first mistake, Ambassador. Humans aren't always rational." With a slight gesture, she activated the holographic display embedded in the council table. It showed the Exorian fleet, 27 warships, arranged in a standard dominance formation above the lunar surface. "Your second mistake," Wei continued, "was assuming our technological capabilities based on our visible space presence." The ambassador's skin pulsed with what might have been concern. "Explain." "While it's true, we haven't expanded beyond our solar system. It's not because we couldn't," Council Member Dr. Abbasi said, joining the conversation. "It's because we chose not to. After our last global war, a century ago, humanity decided to perfect our technology before venturing further into space." Wei tapped the display again. Red dots appeared among the Exorian fleet, dozens of them, previously undetected. "These are our Artemis-class defense platforms," she explained calmly. "Quantum shielded and equipped with graviton beam technology. They've been tracking your fleet since you entered our system 3 days ago." The ambassador's translator emitted a high-pitched sound as his skin turned a pale, sickly color. "Impossible. Our sensors detected no such weapons." "That was rather the point," Wei replied. "Your third mistake was assuming that because we haven't encountered your species before, we haven't encountered others." Council Member Admiral Santiago leaned forward. 50 years ago, we repelled an invasion from the Draconis hegemony. 30 years ago, we negotiated a mutual defense pact with the Centauri Alliance. We are not isolated or uninformed about galactic politics, Ambassador." Wei stood, her full military bearing on display. "Now, let me be perfectly clear. You have exactly 1 hour to withdraw your fleet from our system. After that, we will consider your presence an act of war and respond accordingly." "Run." The ambassador's translator struggled to keep up with his rapid speech. This is highly irregular. The collective expected negotiations, concessions." "That was your final mistake," Wei interrupted. "Humans don't negotiate with those who threaten our home. We've spent too many centuries fighting each other to tolerate threats from beyond our stars." She walked around the table until she stood directly before the ambassador, her eyes cold. "We united as a species precisely because we learned that lesson the hard way. So no, Ambassador Drexel, we will not negotiate. We will not concede. We will defend what is ours with everything we have. Wei's voice softened slightly, but became no less intense. However, should the collective wish to establish peaceful relations, true peaceful relations based on mutual respect, we would welcome such an opportunity. But it begins with your fleet's immediate withdrawal. The ambassador stared at the display, showing his vulnerable fleet surrounded by Earth's hidden defenses. For the first time in his long diplomatic career, he had miscalculated completely. "I will convey your message to the collective leadership," he said finally. Wei nodded. "I suggest you do so quickly, Ambassador. Your hour has already begun." As Drexel hurried from the chamber, Admiral Santiago leaned toward Wei. "Do you think they'll withdraw?" Wei's expression remained impassive. "For their sake, I hope so. The Artemis platforms aren't set to defensive mode.